welcome back to class. So in this class, we are going to be discussing dividend valuation model. You understand the dividend valuation method of computing cost of equity. You know, in our previous class, we discussed the CAPM method, right? So this one, we are going to discuss the dividend valuation method or model, right? So please, if you've not watched our previous two videos on cost of capital, the first one we introduced, we explained the concept of cost of capital. Then the second one, we explain CAPM as well as how to compute CAPM. So this is the third one, which is dividend valuation model of evaluating cost of equity. So we've already explained this, but let me just go through it again. So when talking of dividend valuation model, we're saying that this is when it means that the company pays dividends, right? So the company pays dividend, and it's going to be assumed that okay, the company is going to pay dividends till perpetuity, to the end of the business. You understand? So now, in this dividend valuation model, we have a situation where dividends is growing. And when dividends is constant dividends. So now, growing dividends means that the company is not paying a fixed dividend. It varies from year to year. But constant dividends means that a company is paying like it pays constant dividend, let's say 10%. A company that pays like 10% all throughout 5 years, it means it's a constant dividend. That 10% is a constant dividend. But in a growing dividend, it means in 2022, they paid 10%. 2023, they paid 11%. 2024, they paid 12%. Just like that. That means the dividend is growing, right? So when dividends So normally when you are using dividend valuation model, the normal formula is going to be is KE is equals to D0 bracket 1 plus G all over market value X div plus G. Yes. So where DO is equals to current dividend of course normal one, then G is equals to growth rate, and MV is equals to market value after dividend has been deducted. So that's why you are seeing market value XD. So in cost of capital, right, when it comes to market value, we have two types of market value. We have the market value SD, right? Market value SD. We have MV div. So now you see this market value div. Please don't use it, because normally I can put it in question sometimes. If you come across this, it means that the company has not paid out dividends. Do you understand? It's just like it's just like a situation whereby you are using gross profit to make decision. You understand, to determine whether a company made profit or not. Normally that is wrong, because you've not deducted all your expenses. Normally you're supposed to use net profit. You've not deducted all your expenses, so you can't use gross profit to make decision. So this market div is just like gross profit. You understand? Then by the time you remove the dividends, it's now like net profit. You understand? So that's why it's market value SD. That's after you remove your dividends. Then market value div, that means your dividends is still there. You've not removed your dividends. So when you come across this in a question, you have to compute it to remove the dividend, so that it will now turn to market value SD. You understand? So that's what you are going to use in your formula. So this one now is when dividend is growing, right? So when dividend is constant, so sorry, this one is the normal formula for cost of when dividend is growing. Yes. So when dividend is constant, we now have KE is equals to D1. Yes, D1 all over market value SD. So that's the formula. You understand? Now we are not going to. Okay. So now for us to calculate our growth rate, oh, I'm not supposed to delete this formula. So now, because you have the major focus here is growing dividends, because it's hard for you to come across constant dividend. Now I can they want to stress you, you understand? So they cannot just make it easy like that. They can't make it easy like that. So we are focusing on growing dividends, right? So when dividends is growing, sorry, I want to write the formula again. I forgot. I went to print. Is equals to D0 bracket 1 plus G all over market value S div plus G. So this is the normal formula for dividend valuation. Now we want, okay, maybe it depends on the question they give us. So now for us to determine this now, for us to determine growth rate when dividend is growing dividends. So for us to determine growth rate, is either we use interpolation of historical dividends, interpolation of historical dividends, or we use the Gordon, Gordon's growth model. So now this interpolation is when like dividend percentage is given in like in numbers. Maybe in 2023 it was 10% dividend they paid out. In 2024, 12%. In 2025, 15%. Just like that. That's when we are going to use interpolation method. So is this method now we are going to solve question on first so that you understand. So let's solve question on interpolation method. So I'm going to be solving I can fast question. The question says that's the Inca PLC. So we're just going to go straight to the dividend, valuation side. So the ordinary shares of the Inca PLC has an S dividend market value of 4.7 naira per share. An ordinary dividend of 36.3 kobo per share has been paid. Historical dividend payment has been have been as follow. Year 2019 dividend was 30.9. Then year 2020 dividend was, okay, let me be writing it out. 2019 dividend was 3.9, right? So in 2020 dividend was 32.2. So in 2021 dividend was 33.6. So in 2022 dividend was 35.0. So now they said the ordinary share capital of YKPLC has an S market value of 4.7 naira per share and an ordinary dividend of 36.3 kobo per share. This means this is the current dividend of which is going to be for 2023 since it has been paid, which is 36.3. So you can see from 30.9 to 32.22. to 33.6 to 35.0 to 36.3, which means that dividends is growing. Now we are going to apply our formula. The formula is when you are using interpolation method, the formula for interpolation method is n minus 1 square root current dividend minus earliest dividend minus 1. So this is the formula for interpolation. Now let's include our formula now. First of all, n stands for number of years. Yes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 years. So now say 5 minus 1 square root. What's the current dividend? What's our current dividend? What is the most current year? Is 2023, right? We now say 36.3. 36.3 all over earliest dividend. That's the first dividend, which was 2019, which is 30.9. 30.9. So minus 1. Please, this one is outside though. So now we now have 4 roots. Now say 36.3 divided by 30.9. We'll have 1.1744, let's approximate 48, right? Minus 1. So now we want to do 4 root this. So 4 root this gives us 1.041. Yes, 1.041. Then minus that one, minus 1. We have is equals to 0.041. You can still decide to add 1. You can decide not to add 1. You understand? So this is our growth rate. Yes, this is our growth rate. So this is what we are going to apply in this our formula. So going back to our formula, using interpolation method, we are going to say, okay, cost of equity is equals to the current dividend, which is 36.3, then 1 plus our growth rate of 0.041 all over market value SD. What did our question say? Our question say market value SD of 4 naira, of 4.77 naira. So our market value SD is 4.70 of 4.7, then plus 0.041. So now we now say 1 plus 0.041, yeah, times, we times it by this, times 36.3. Okay, so we now divide the figure by 4.70. We have 8.040 plus our 0.041 plus 0.041. So we have KE is equals to 8%. Is equals to 8 times 1.041 divided by 4.70. It is, yes. Okay. Then plus 0.041. That's 8%. So cost of equity is equals to 8%. This is when we use the interpolation. You can see the interpolation is not complex. You understand? Just know the formula and apply it. But in a situation where you are giving, maybe your growth rate, like dividends is not listed like this. Maybe, okay, dividend grow at a rate of, maybe you are giving a constant dividend, you understand? You are not going to do n minus 1. You just put it like that and move on. So we'll now move to Gordon's growth model. Okay, Gordon's growth. So in this Gordon's growth is just like using, just it's similar to dividend, but however, now you're not going to use that. What you're going to use is retain earning. So when we're looking for growth rate in Gordon's growth model, yeah, we are going to say, okay, G is equals, remember it's growth rate we are looking for, is equals to R times B, right? Where R is equals to return on investments, right? And the formula, eh? And the formula for this, because I don't want to break it down, and the formula for this is part all over opening shareholders fund. So that's the formula. Then we now move to B. We now say B. Then B is proportion of retained earnings. We now say proportion of retained earnings. And the formula for this B is part, yeah, minus dividend all over part. A company's retained earning, after a company is like maybe they are done with operation for the year, it is from profit they distribute dividends. You understand? So the remaining one is retained earnings. So that's why they said proportion of retained earnings. So this is the formula. Are we good? So let's proceed. So the question that I want to solve is ICANN November 2018. So this is our formula, right? So now, okay, Eco PLC. So it said on May 31st, 2017, Eco ordinary share had a market value of 276 kobo, 276 kobo SD. You see, SD. If you school div, they will tell you. So if you school div, you are going to do your computation so that you deduct dividend and get your SD. But this one, they gave us SD, so we are going to use it like that. So we have 276 kobo, that's the market value, and an equity beta of 0.660. So for the year ended May 31st, 2017, the dividend yield was 4.2%, and the earnings per share was 25 kobo. The return on the market is expected to be 8% per annum, and risk-free rate is 2.2% per annum. So the first thing we are going to do is say the dividend yield was 4.2%, and the retained earning and the earning per share was 25 kobo. So now they did not give us information about dividends. They did not give us anything about dividend, but they gave us information that we can use to compute dividend per share. You understand? Dividend per share. So now for us to calculate our dividend per share, first of all, that's the first thing. We'll say dividend yield, dividend yield is equals to dividend divided by market value. Market value. Now, our dividend yield in this question is 4.2%. 4.2%. Then is equals to x, because dividend is not given. We don't know the formula for our dividend. You understand? Sorry, we don't know the figure for dividend, so we are going to assume it to be x. Then the market value they gave us is 276 kobo. We can't use 276 kobo. What do we do? That kobo, we need to convert it to naira. Do you understand? We need to convert it to naira so that we can use it. So we now say 276, sorry, let me do it here, 276 divided by 100. So it will give us, I think, 2.76 naira. You understand? Hey, that's how we can now use it like that. Now be 2.76. Now we're not going to cross multiply. You understand now in our mathematics days. Now say x is equals to 4.2% times 276. So to give us 0.12, to give us 0.12. So this is the dividend per share. Now, since we've gotten our dividend per share, what is the next thing for us to do? Is for us to calculate our dividend. Now, remember, if you want to calculate, it's for us to calculate, sorry, the ordinary, that's the ordinary share capital, the market value, you understand? And for you to calculate it, now say, okay, now say ordinary shares, total market value of ordinary shares, yeah? Ordinary shares equals to, they gave us 23 in the question. They gave us 23, right? Then divided by the nominal value. Now say this divided by, is 10 kobo divided by 1. Now say 23 times, divided by 0.1. We have 2,330. So now say therefore dividend is equals to 23 times 0.12, sorry, it will give us 0.2 times 2330. It will give us 276 point, sorry, 279.6. So 279.6, that's our dividend. Please, I want to keep it here, dividend, because we still need it later. 279.6. So the next thing, we've gotten our dividends. So the next thing now is for us to determine our part. You know, our formula carries part. And in this question, we are not giving part, right? So we have to compute it. So part, we now say determination of part. There are some questions that they will give us part of. There are some questions they will give us profit after tax. But I just have to bring out the worst case scenario. Do you understand? So in case you are not giving part. So this is how you compute your part. Determination of part. So in this question, they gave us retained earnings. Yes, they gave us retained earnings, which is kobo. Okay, and the earning per share. So they gave us earning per share was 25 kobo. Now say earnings per share is equals to part all over numbers of ordinary share. You understand? All of us numbers of ordinary share. Remember, our ordinary share that we calculated earlier was this. 233 divided by 0.1, which gave us 2. Yes. So all over that. Now we now say any per share. Like I said, anywhere you see kobo, please convert it to naira. We cannot use kobo like that. So we're not going to say our earnings per share, which is 25 kobo. When you divide it by 100 to give you 0.25 kobo, right? We're not saying, oh, is equals to our part. We don't know what our part is. We say x all over this these numbers of ordinary shares. When you want to get your ordinary share, the numbers of ordinary share, you're going to say, okay, the ordinary share capital divided by the nominal value, you will get your numbers of ordinary shares. So you now say 2330. Now we will not cross multiply again. You now say x is equals to 0.25 times 2330 is equals to 2330 times 0.25. We have 58, now have 582.5. This is our part. So we'll keep it here again. Part 582.5. So that's our part. In our formula again, we are going to look for opening shareholders fund. We were not given. They only gave us the closing. So now we have to go and look for it. Hope you guys are understanding. Please kindly drop a comment. Determination of opening shareholders fund. Right. So now I want to calculate shareholders fund. And in this question, what they gave us was opening shareholders fund. We have ordinary share capital of 233, then retained earnings of 5,030 naira. You understand? So which sums up to be 5,263. That's our closing retained earnings as that financial statement of financial position as that May 31st, 2017. So now we now say, okay, termination of the shareholders fund. Now we now say closing shareholders fund, closing as that 31st of May. It was because it was 5263. Do you know how we got this 5263? When you check your question, ordinary share capital plus retained earnings. That's how you get your closing. So after that, then we now bring out our part for the year. Our part was this figure, which is 582.5. Right? The next thing that we are going to do next, for us to bring out our dividend. Now say dividend. You remember how we got this dividend earlier? Yeah. So now say, okay, our dividend, now say 279.6. So this dividend, we are going to deduct it from that. Let me drop it. Okay, so we are going to now say 582.5 minus 279.6. We now have 302.9. So we can just approximate 303. We approximated all over or minus. Then we now say 5263 minus 303. We have 4960. So this is our opening shareholders fund. Opening shareholders fund. You understand what I mean? So you can see that our opening shareholders fund is 4,960. Then closing is 5,263, which is normal. You understand? Because normally closing is supposed to be bigger than the opening. You understand? So which is very okay. So now we want to bring out our formula. Now in our formula we said our R is equals to part all over opening shareholders fund. So we now say, okay, we now bring our part. Now say our part, which is equals to 582.5 divided by opening 4960. We now have 582.5 divided by 4960. We have 0.12. We approximated. Yes, so 0.12. Then we now come again. Our B, which is part minus dividends all over part, right? We now say P 582.5 minus dividend 279.6 all over 582.5. Can you guys see it? So it will give us 0.52. Yes, 0.52. So that's that. So we've gotten our A. I don't know if you can see. Yes. So we've gotten our A. So we've gotten our R and we've gotten our B. So the next thing for us to do now is for us to determine our growth rate, which is it will now be G is equals to R times B. That is G is equals to 0.12 times 0.52. 0.12 times 0.52. So we have G, our growth rate, G is equals to 0.0624. That's our answer. That's our growth rate. You see, that's our growth rate. So now we now want to impute this growth rate into our formula, right? We now want to impute this into our formula, which will now be yes. So remember, this is our dividend, that 0.2%, 0.12 that we got earlier as our dividends per share, right? That's what we are going to use as our current dividends. You understand? So the growth rate is going to be this figure, which is 0.0624. You understand? Then our market value. What was our market value? I have to check this question again. Okay, our market value, which was I think 27 divided by 100, 276 divided by, which was 2.76. Yes, 0.0624. So now we'll compute 1 plus 0.0624, yeah, times 0.12, then divided by 2.76, okay, then plus 0.0624 times 100. So our KE is equals to 10.8%. So these are cost of capital using the Gordon's growth model. You know, in our using the interpolation, it wasn't not 8%. What did we get earlier? Which was 8%. So this is everything about Gordon's growth model. So there are some questions where you'll be giving parts. You don't need to go through all this stress. So this one is just like a case where it's not given, so you know how to go about it. So that will be all for now. So in my next video, I'm going to be our next class, we're going to be discussing cost of debt. Yes, cost of debt. Thank you for staying with me. See you on my next one. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share to your friends. Thank you.